Okay, everyone, good evening and welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Thailand. Everyone got a drink and something to eat? Okay. Yes, good evening. My name is Tommy Walker. I'm a journalist here in Bangkok. I'm also a board member and the host of the FCCT's Dateline Bangkok podcast. Tonight we have a special program focusing on Thailand and Cambodia. Obviously there's been tensions and conflict this year, but tonight's program will focus on demarcation, borderlines and boundary markers. Before we get into our expert panelists, we have a lot of events up and coming towards Christmas, at the club. Lots of really interesting events. Tomorrow night we have an art event, Can There Be a Renaissance in Thai Arts? It begins at 7 o'clock. Next week we have Inside the Whale Hunting Investigation, a conversation with Tom Wright. That's next Wednesday, 19th November at 7 o'clock. Every Tuesday, if you didn't know, we have a co-working day. So for members or non-members, you can use the clubhouse as your venue for your office. And every Tuesday we have our board games night, which is very popular. Again, lots more events upcoming. Next Friday, the 21st, we have Nobel Peace Prize winner, Alexandra Matvichuk from Ukraine will be coming to the club. And on Tuesday, the 25th of November, we have His Excellency, Thailand's Foreign Minister, Sihasak, will also be coming to the club as well. And we have the stringer, don't we?
Yeah.
December 3rd. Another event to put into your diaries, December 3rd, we have the stringer, which it's a panel discussion about the upcoming film that's going to be released on Netflix on the 28th of November. So our panel discussion will be on the 3rd of December. And Christmas is coming. We have a Christmas party here every year at the club. Save the date. It's on Friday, the 12th of December. Non-members and members are all welcome. Okay, just a brief note. If you want to keep up to date with what's happening here at the club, we are active on social media, Facebook, Twitter or X, LinkedIn. You can also sign up to our email bulletin, which goes out every week. And as well, we are all volunteers here, so if there are any non-members, please consider becoming a member. There are different categories of membership, and for any previous members, please renew with us as well. We'd love to see you again regularly. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about demarcation, borderlines between Thailand and Cambodia. Our first guest, who's coming in online, is Puth Sothirak, who is a senior advisor to the Cambodian Center for Regional Studies in Phnom Penh, an independent non-profit foreign affairs think tank. Puth Sothirak was a member of the Royalist Fun Simpec party, and he was Cambodia's Minister for Industry, Mines and Energy from 1993 to 1998. He was also Cambodia's ambassador to Japan between 2005 and 2009. Thank you, Puth Sothirak, for joining us. Here at the club, to the far right, we have Thonchai Winnachakul, who is a professor of Southeast Asian history at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and an author of Siam Mapped, a history of the geobody of a nation. He is a senior researcher at the Japanese Institute of Developing Economies and was president of Michigan's Association for Asia Studies in 2013. And finally, last but not least, we have Dominic Falder, who is a FCCT board member, first vice president, and Nikkei Asia associate editor. So that's it. That's it for introduction. Dominic will be leading tonight's program with the debate and a series of slides. So get comfortable, get a beer, get some pad corral pizza, enjoy.
Okay, just to promote the event on the 3rd, it's the famous Napalm Girl controversy, the picture that changed attitudes in the Vietnam War. And this documentary has been made by Gary Knight, a former member of the club, suggesting or proving that the picture was taken by somebody other than Nick Ut. It's a very interesting story and highly recommended. So just, that's the 3rd of December. So I thought I'd kick off tonight before we bring in our panelists, just setting the scene on the border a little bit so that people can see what's happened before and what's going on. Now, this particular picture, I wonder if anybody in the room actually recognizes what it is. Any guesses? Pravihan? Praviha? Correct. That's exactly the point. This is Panamrung, which is in Buriram province, and it is 100 kilometers from the nearest point on the Cambodian border. And it's something very important to remember when you're talking about the border, that the whole of northeastern Thailand is full of Khmer temples, structures, chedis, what have you. And that is a time before maps. So coming forward, we have here the existing map, which runs down from Laos, Ubon Ratchathani, all the way down to Trat. This is about 817 kilometers. It's a porous border, which means that people can go backwards and forwards. It's very wild in parts, very difficult for people to police on either side. And we've marked a couple of areas here. This is from Nikkei Asia, but that's FCCT, where we had issues in July, and Sakeo, which is what I'm going to talk about a little bit more, where we've had an incident today, and down to Trat, which is key because the border influences the petrochemical issues, the gas in the Gulf. This is a map from 1982 from Phnom Penh Post, and it shows something very important, which is something that happened in the 80s. When the Vietnamese expelled the Khmer Rouge, all the refugees went to the border, so you had about 500,000 Khmers in these camps, all dotted along here. The interesting thing here is that the red ones are the Khmer Rouge camps, the blue ones are KPLNF, and the yellow ones are ANS, which was Sihanouk's army. The refugee situation, this is Site 8, which was a Khmer Rouge camp, is very central to the Thai sentiments. They feel that they did a very kind turn for the Khmers in a very difficult time. This is a Khmer Rouge widow. Her husband's been killed. She is in Site 8. This is a child in Site 8. You can see this very distinctive rock formation behind it. This was a refugee camp, but the back was completely open so that the Khmer Rouge could come in and out at any time. This is on Thai soil, and they were asked not to bring their weapons in, so it wasn't militarized. And this is where their families lived. And when you went into these camps at this time, half the population, so it was much more than that, was under 5. It was unbelievable. They were basically repopulating Cambodia in the camps after the Holocaust. This is Site B, which was Sihanouk's camp, if I recall correctly. It's very difficult to give an idea of the scale, but if you look into the trees, you can see that these huts are just stretching away into the distance. The numbers are extraordinary. This is on the Thai side. This is something that we've actually seen in recent months, which is the fortifications, the bunkers that have been built around schools, so that if shells come in from the other side, they have somewhere to go. This picture was taken in 1986. The design of the bunkers is almost identical today. Very sad that we're seeing them again. As I said, the border, particularly south around Borai, but below Poipet, Aranya Pratet, was very porous, which meant that the Khmer Rouge could come in and out. You have to remember that there was a war going on with the government of Hun Sen in Phnom Penh. And this is the kind of thing that you might find if you went into the wrong areas. That's Khmer Rouge truck, Chinese made, just disappearing through this border. At that point, it was impossible to know whether you were in Cambodia or Thailand. You would go into these areas, and the border might vary in practice by as much as 10 kilometers. So you just didn't know what was going on. This is Khmer Rouge supplies stuck in the middle of the jungle. Almost all of this was from China, and this would have included mortars and mines principally, as well as things. These are the mines that were being found in the late 90s. And you'll see two of them are plastic. The top right one is a plastic Chinese-made mine. But basically, mines are very low technology. Everybody makes them. They're all stealing from each other. And of course, they should have been banned. This is a typical waterway in Cambodia. And the reason I bring it up is that these plastic mines are especially dangerous because they float. And they will come out of the fields or go into the fields. And probably one of the most dangerous areas in a farm that you'll find is the weir, where the water is controlled. And that's where the plastic mines accumulate. The full extent of the border is enormous. So you had people from the three factions fighting the Khmer army in Phnom Penh, plus the Vietnamese, all of them planting mines. And so you're talking about a problem that extended into the millions, which is slowly being cleared up on both sides. It's an enormous problem. It's a problem that was inflicted on the region by a war that the region itself didn't cause. That picture that I've just shown is when everything changed. This is a picture in Pasat, which is on the border with Thailand. And it's a picture of the Vietnamese withdrawal at the end of in December 1989, when Vietnam finally realized that it could no longer afford to occupy Cambodia. This is an important turning point. This is after Gorbachev put everything into reverse. This is an example of the legacy inside Cambodia of the war. This actually doesn't show mines, it shows UXO, unexploded ordnance, mortars, rockets and everything. This stuff was all over the place. It's a similar problem up in Laos. It's the end of the Vietnam War. This border still has these problems along it. These are Cambodian mine clearers. He's a former Khmer Rouge. This picture was taken in about 97, and she's a woman. She's a woman. The other miner is a woman. They had lots of women doing the demining. They were very good at it. Being a deminer was one of the best jobs you could get in Cambodia, sadly. This is bringing it up to date. These pictures are by Adriel Talamantes, who unfortunately is not here. But this is Colonel Benz, Lieutenant Colonel Benz, Nititep Barami. He's got a very interesting surname. And he's a very important officer in the Sakao region of the border. He is standing next to a map of Ban Nong Ya Kiao with border posts 42 to 43. So this is a very sensitive area, one of the two most sensitive areas along the border. And today, there's actually been an incident there with 5 people wounded and 1 person killed. Basically, what's happening, it's not very easy to see, but if you look down at the bottom, there's a little blue triangle. And that is the area that the Thais say the Cambodians have encroached upon. That's where the houses are. At this point, after the fighting in July, the Thai military moved in and they took out the guard stations between the disputed areas, just told the soldiers that were guarding it, the Cambodians, to go home, and there was no fighting. There has been peace in this area relatively compared to Sisaket or other places. Yeah, that's it. And you can see the blue area in the middle. That's the contested area. It's actually not very large. This is the eviction orders that have been placed by the governor of Sakao. telling people that Cambodians they claim have illegally appropriated land to move off. The deadline for observing this particular expulsion order was October 10th, and the Thai military did nothing at that point. They did not move in, they did not evacuate anybody, and the argument was quite simply, that's the governor's order, our business can wait. So they moved. This is the sort of scene that you see in these contested areas. They've screened everything off with this agricultural netting, and then you walk through, and then there's a second screen, and the Cambodians have replicated it. It's the same thing on the other side, but between them is barbed wire and vehicles like this. This is a very important element in the border dispute. Everywhere you go, you are photographed by the other side. So it's a kind of war of reverse selfies, and they're very close. And everything that the Cambodians have done, the Thais have repeated. That means putting up CCTV, flying drones around. The drones that the Thais are flying at the moment some of them are controlled by the traffic police from Bangkok on secondment up there getting special practice filming Cambodia. It's a strange world. This is a minefield. This is near one of the disputed areas. This has not been freshly mined. This is an area that is left over from the dispute, from the Civil War that didn't really come to an end until about 92 when the Khmer refugees were sent back. This is woodland, and it's got anti-personnel and anti-tank mines in it, and it's something to be respected. These are Thai military clearing. They're not really clearing it. They're checking an area that might have been remined, and I have to say they found nothing. But you can see them going through the field. They lay the tapes through the areas that they've cleared. Behind them, now in focus, is the Khmer media photographing the Thai military in action, and the media on the Thai side following through. This is one of the contested areas. This is significant. This is Thai nationalists who have come to protest and make their feelings known. We visited these people on the 10th, same day. Very calm, unaggressive thing. I mean, yes, they're waving flags and everything. The important point here is that all these blue people, figures in uniform facing them are not military. They are provincial workers. They are from the local province. This is another important element. These are rangers who you find only along the Cambodian border. They are all female. They are unarmed. They are there to deal with contingencies involving women protesters, a lot of whom happen to be pregnant for some reason. This is Aranya Pratet, an example of how the shutdown is affecting the Thais as well. This place has been in bad shape for 2 years, 3 years. It's now completely out of business. There's not a single business operating in the mall. This is the closed gates of Phoi Phet. Phoi Phet is on the other side, the gambling town. Aranya Pratet. This is the most important crossing point into Cambodia. This is the big trade route. This is closed. It is unlikely to open this year, very unlikely. This is the bridge over it. This is actually the border. This is a very interesting stretch. Phoi Phet is surrounded by a network of waterways which form part of the border. To the north, it's what they call the watershed, which is the high point in the Dong Rak mountain ranges. Here, there's water to define the border. Further south, it's much more complicated. In fact, north and south of here, because the fields are completely indistinguishable. They're flat. You could be standing in Cambodia or Thailand. You wouldn't have a clue if you didn't have a smartphone. This is marker 51, which is just in basically Phoi Phet. And this is an example. This is a Thai marker that they have put in to mark where they think the border is. This was done in 2022. It's marked quite clearly on it. This is a night patrol inside Thailand, along the border I've just mentioned, which is defined by waterways, and that's Poi Phet in the background. It's totally close. This is a border guard. You can see right into the house of the Cambodian family across the river. What you can't see here is the watercourse that separates the two countries. And at this point, about a month before we visited, they'd intercepted 24 illegal Cambodians trying to get back across the border into Thailand to work, because there's no work for them inside Cambodia. This is Ta Proa province. This is a very important picture. This is the Malaysian military attaché in Bangkok, who is the head of the observer team. He's a brigadier general, which is a very high rank for a military attaché. And he is being shown one of the original markers laid that came out of the 1907 treaty marking the border. There are 73 of these. It's a very long stretch of land to mark, and some of these markers are missing. So they may have been moved by people who want to steal a bit of each other's country, backwards and forwards, or they've been taken away by antique dealers. So one was found in the home of a British expatriate who bought it, sitting here in Bangkok somewhere. One of these markers is about 1.5 meters. It's stone. It's very easy actually to move it if you wanted to. So that's one of the problems that has to be sorted out. This is a briefing on disputed areas, and what you can see is a slash through the map, which is basically roughly where the French demarcation is. And this is them going off to look for another marker that's supposed to be nearby. These are all Thai military and the attachés walking off to be shown the kind of problems that they've got establishing markers. This is a very interesting document. This is produced by the joint Cambodian-Thai security teams. So basically they've assessed where these markers are, and you can see all these dots along the thing with the same number. So you have on one side the Cambodian estimation of what their marker should be, and on the other side the Thai one. This is very precise detail. They know where their markers are, and then we know where the markers are in terms of the world because we have Google. So there's a lot there, and it shows it's important because these joint boundary investigations have actually been quite constructive, and the teams get along fairly well, and they understand the problems. This is not a very good copy, but basically you can see the yellow line running down the page. That's the French marker. The red line is the Khmer one, and the Thai one is the blue one. So what you've got is a corridor of this disputed area that's running along, and it's actually not that wide. It's not huge. There are problems with missing markers where you can't simply join the dots and forget about where that missing marker's gone, because it could be anywhere. 3 kilometers and some.
3 kilometers more.
Yeah. You'll get your revenge in a minute. So that's it. And that is where the problem lies. The border was surveyed in about 1904. The Thais argue that their surveyors were not equipped to do the job properly, and this has remained an enormous border of contention ever since. But I'll leave Pusat Iraq and the Ajahn to go into it in more detail. So I think I'll leave it there. Siam, French, the old name of Siam, French, and along the side you can see frontière written on it. So they didn't even write it in English, it was French at the time. It's all about those. So, can we get Ajahn Pusat Iraq? Done. Thank you for being so patient. I hope you found that interesting. We're particularly interested in you because of your participation in a very important document, this book on Previha, with a very distinguished Thai academic and historian, Chanvit Kasetsiri, and Professor Pavin at Kyoto University. When you joined in on that particular project, what did you think was important? I mean, this example of cooperation is remarkable.
Yeah. So first, greeting from Cambodia, from Phnom Penh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me into this important dialogue. I'm quite happy to entertain any concern that you might have or any question that you might have. Now, with regard to the question that you just asked, I want to make a preliminary statement that I'm hoping to do today, rather than to dwell on historical context, map, or any other things. I think peace is at stake right now. There is a report in Cambodia that there's one civilian got shot dead again. Situation is very murky. Conflicting report, who shoot first is coming back. And the fate of relationship between Thailand and Cambodia is now quite gloomy. If peace are not holding up, more consequential outcome will prevail. Both sides are now, instead of engaging in diplomacy and negotiations or talk, they are now sliding toward a military solution. So I hope, as we speak, if you want to make sense of history or which map is to be used and so on, you may not capture the dynamic that is playing out at the moment. So having said that, you asked what I feel. By the way, I was very privileged that FCC Thailand invited me to, even, it's not a launch of that book. I launched a book with Ajahn Chanvit and Kun Pavin in Thammasat University back in 2013. And but I was a guest speaker. My good friend Gwen Robinson, she passed away now, brought me there, and I enjoyed the conversation then. So you asked me what transpired during that time. It was a full-blown conflict happened surrounding the issues of the Temple Privy here, which Cambodia seek reinterpretation of the court ruling in 1962, and with also a provisional measure, because there was a small war erupted. In my view, just as lethal as this one, but less so from the point of view of nationalistic sentiment. But every other element remained there. Domestic politics is there, misreading each other, history is there. But what's important to note that the domestic politics inside Thailand remain quite valid and play out again this time. So during that time, the provisional measure was quickly resolved by the court. The court ordered both sides to adhere to the ceasefire, and they declare a depressurizing zone, demilitarizing zone, and call for ASEAN to come in and do their work to try to mediate for peaceful settlement of the dispute. Marty Natagawa issues a package deal 6 point, similar to this piece, similar to the term of reference that they've been talking about. But back then was a bit more, in my view, more strategic, in a sense that it called for a ceasefire and the observer to be placed at the border, both Thailand and Cambodia. And what's important at that time, the Thai civilian government have agreed to this notions of Indonesian mediation mechanism, the package deal. But when the Thai civilian leader come back home, I understand then that time was due to Thai constitutions, which require that the military have a bigger say. In other words, whatever agree, both government at that time agreed to have the observer on the ground. But when it go back, it cannot. Cambodia even built a house for the observer already back then. So it was very complicated. But fortunately, and then the verdict, the reinterpretation come out 2 or 3 years later. Cambodia filed in 2011, but the ruling took place in November 13. So two plus year. And back then again, the ruling confirmed that the Temple of Previer and the land surrounding the Temple of Previer is situated inside Cambodia, without mentioning how big, how small. Thai complaint at that time was 4.6 square kilometer. So that was it. But then there was a period of detente, you know, there was a good rapport between Cambodia and Thailand. There was no, although they cannot apply the package deal that brokered by Indonesia, but there was no eruptions of conflict. So, and the joint, the JBC, you know, the Joint Border Committee, in the text, the MOG text say that they have to meet 1 time a year. They have not met since then, 2013 until the breakout of the latest conflicts. So maybe I stop here. There's
Sure.
any other question, I'd be very happy to shed some light.
I was talking to a senior Thai diplomat who's been involved in Cambodia for a long time, and he said that it was his impression that both the foreign ministries in Cambodia and Thailand had a very good grasp of the lie of the land along the border, where the problems were, and that left to their own devices, they could probably negotiate some kind of accommodation and get this sorted out. Is it does that jibe with your perception, or do you think that other influences are overriding this rather rational approach?
Yeah, thank you for this question. I agree that the new foreign minister of Thailand exhibit a more accommodative toward collaboration, toward diplomacy, much better than the previous one. And therefore the Cambodian foreign minister also, as you mentioned, enjoyed this, or at least notice it, that there is a room to discuss. But when it comes to the understanding about the border, I wanted to tell the audience that attend your talk tonight, that there are obvious difference of how the two nations see their land border. Cambodia rely mainly on the French design, French designated map from the late 19th to the early 20th century. Cambodia, in an effort to try to reduce tension, agreed to the MOU that was also signed in 2000. And the MOU was signed based on the expression from both Prime Minister at that time and the Foreign Minister at that time to create this JBC. JBC is an act of somewhat a treaty between Cambodia and Thailand to try to prevent misunderstanding that could come into play when they try to finish off the demarcation process. The committee that was created, their task is to conduct a survey and demarcation work on land boundary. That's basically what it is. And so on the Thai side, as you may know or may not know, there is an insistence of a bilateral negotiation. In other words, Thailand always prefer bilateral. I explained in my book some 10 years ago, bilateral mechanism. And kind of reluctantly accepting external engagement. In other words, Thailand never want to have anybody between Cambodia, just Cambodia and Thailand, and no mediations, in other words. This position is rooted in, I believe, in a unilaterally drawn map, which in my view lack legal value. And this map was used to even claim the temple previa. The difference then in the early 1962 is that Thailand agreed to take the case to the court. Thai government have agreed to King Sihanouk at that time, who was head of government, asked Thailand to go to court for the ownership of the temple. And Thailand agreed in 1962, Thai lost the case. And then when Cambodia tried to accede the temple previa as a World Heritage Site in 2008, there's another incursion, military incursion into the temple previa. If you ask me how today the two foreign ministers see their boundary, it's rooted in that misunderstanding. Again, I wanted to emphasize that Cambodia rely on the French map, and this French map is co-produced by Siam government at that time. The conventions of 1904 and the Treaty of 1907 create this Siami-Franco joint border demarcation. History recorded that they have used a map for administrative arrangement and so on and so forth already. I don't have to go back. There's a lot of detail about it, but the nutshell is there. And then the contemporary, the two prime minister and Thai prime minister wanted to ensure that understanding is there based on map. And if you read the MOU, everything is in there. The reference to the treaty, the map that is used, it's in there. But unfortunately, the problem become a big problem is that Thailand seemed to think that Thailand was not happy with the French map for some odd reason, and then come up with their own map. And unfortunately, this map is not registered at the UN. They have no legal value. In fact, it is Thai. If I have one copy of it, it's a military map, and it also says secret map. This is the version that I have a copy of, but I don't really know what that is. But I understand now they use satellite with high resolutions and whatnot to use and to redraw the French design map. There's a French designated map with Siam team as well at that time. So that's the complication issues that need to be put in perspective.
Okay, Ajahn Tongchai is going to ask you a question, but just before, I want to ask one issue. The memorandums of understanding that were signed by Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra and his predecessor, there's a big move now to actually abrogate them, cancel them. These are technical modalities. They discuss how the two countries should interact. Do you think that would be a very serious step backwards to finding any solution? Sorry, did you hear me? I don't.
You asked me?
Sorry, something must have gone wrong. I asked you about the memorandums of understanding.
Oh, you asked me. Sorry, I thought you asked our Thai colleague.
No.
You asked me about the MOU. Please ask again.
Ask again. Okay, so there were two memorandums of understanding designed to work on demarcating the border and basically technical stuff. These are now potentially on the chopping block in Thailand. probably for political reasons, do you think that would be a disastrous step backwards if they were revoked, given the modalities that they provide?
Yeah. You know, as you mentioned, I serve in the government with the ranking of minister, and maritime boundary is also a problem. I was tasked by the first government to try to get Thailand to agree on joint development in the Gulf of Thailand. And so there's an issues about this also. But I say this about the MOU. The MOU, actually the 2001 is more for land, and the 2011? 2001 for maritime. But I think the maritime is not as strong as 2000 in my view, okay? Because there's an exchange of note between two prime ministers first, and then two foreign ministers agree on a joint statement to create the border. You have to go to the text, the creation of the maritime boundary. I don't think there is cabinet decisions in my view. I may be wrong because I'm more focused on the land boundary. But nevertheless, I mean, for us who want to serve justice to both countries and to adhere to peaceful settlement, these MOU represent a diplomatic way of communicating with each other on these sensitive issues. So if you're going to eliminate them, that means what? That means both countries agree not to use diplomacy to settle their differences with regard to the border. And everybody know that if you don't use diplomacy and negotiation, peaceful settlement of dispute, either there's only other, it's to use military solution, you know, because Cambodia would never cede territory, and Thailand would definitely, if they think this is the Thai territory in Cambodia, cling on to it, they will use force to take it back. So what choice do we have? So those who want to cancel the MOU must offer a legitimate merit of canceling it. To me, it's a very important, essential diplomatic tool to open up the channel of communication between the two countries in an official way, you know, then resorting to military solution to the problem.
Thank you. Ajahn Tongchai, you wanted to say something?
Ambassador Pu, this is Tongchai. I'm
Yes.
not sure you remember me. We met in
Yeah, of
Singapore
course.
in 2011 or 12. Yeah,
You
several
also
times.
have white hair like me.
Yeah, several times at West Coast hawkers for beers. I have one question. I can say up front that, in my opinion, definitely the map one per 200,000 is the French map. Is the only one that is legally binding. But that map was made 1907, 1909. 100 years later, the question is, don't you think 100 years later, can we rely on that map, or should we improve that map by modern technology to figure out the demarcation line according to the agreement, according to the treaty of 1907, 1909. In other words, to make it short, should both countries agree to improve, to update that map?
Yeah, good question. If there is any decision to be made, it's not at the level of JBC. So you have to understand the authority of the JBC, the Joint Border Committee, the 2000. In the Joint Committee, they use the reference map that you were talking about, that Thailand suggests to you a different map. Now, I ask of you that if you want to make a modus of operandi that's going to be successful in completing the work. By the way, JBC has not completed their work yet. you know, in defining the border technically, demarcated the border. They have not completed their work yet. So if you were to use a different map, you better get the Cambodian politicians agree to it, rather than the merit of the technical aspect that you were citing. Now, what prevents Thailand at the time when you do the MOU to suggest to the Prime Minister of Cambodia at that time, and then to put these things into the text? Because you see, the JBC have to go by what's inscribed. They are accountable to what is. They are binding to their responsibility that is described, the term of reference that giving to them, based on a declared term of reference which set out in MOU. So my reflection or my challenge back to you: what prevents you from not doing it in a proper way? In other words, don't do it unilaterally drawn like you do it when we ask for reinterpretation. That was the first time Cambodia see this unilaterally drawn map. Why didn't you take on a diplomatic route at the civilian government to government level? So this is my point, and that need to be put in perspective. Now, with regard to high resolution, better map, and so on, yeah, I understand the merit of it, but it have to have a legal value, you know? Can you show me or point it to me that the one that you suggest using, you know, infrared from satellites or even aircraft to map the map, you have to get Cambodia to agree. And that's what I'm saying. You cannot just do it yourself and produce it. If a Cambodian topography fly the plane and do this map with you, maybe that's a good start, you know? So I suggest we should go back to how this map is created.
Don't be misunderstood. I'm not referring to 50,000 at all. That map is not legally binding. I mean, should there be a new team, new effort to trying to figure out demarcation, because it's 100 years after the agreed upon map, which is 200,000, which were made in 1907, 1909. It's 100 years already. Should there be a new one, improved one, updated one? I am not talking about 1 to 50,000.
Yeah, I agree with you, but like I said, this matter, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the legal department, the boundary legal department, should be the place. And in my suggestion, if you can keep it away from military, you know, if you can just keep away from military having a public diplomacy say about this map, it can be resolved maybe much easier than now. That's just my honest opinions about this matter, you know. So as long as you can restrain military to take a leadership role in negotiating, or you see, Thailand won bilateral, Cambodia also won bilateral, but the Cambodian government get fed up with bilateral because of this map, you know. We try to tell Thailand we cannot accept the map, you know. So what to do? That's why Cambodia go to ASEAN, that's why we go to the UNSC, that's why we go to the ICJ. That's all constitute a peaceful settlement of dispute also, but we never, Thailand, let's prepare a military operation against one another. Cambodia have never even think about as an option, you know. These are something that I would like to make clear at your event today.
If I could just come in here, when I was showing the maps where the two teams had marked what they thought was the border, and we had, you know, parallel markings, I commented that the distance between them was actually quite small. And then you whispered to me, it's 3 kilometers in some areas. I think you have to explain why both of us could say that and be correct. Because when you talk about a map that is 1 to 250,000 or 200,000 compared to 1 to 50,000, it's a difference of scale. Think about the French pencil mark that went down this border and look at its width on the ground, and it's what, 3 kilometers? Just the pencil line?
Estimate, because I explained that the two maps use different methodology.
Yeah.
You cannot reconcile because different methodology.
It's a huge headache, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the fact is, we are in 2025. We have satellites that can point to, within a millimeter of the ground. We all know exactly where we are. So why is it that these two countries can't embrace this new technology to reinterpret the French delineed border? Nobody argues that there's a border. We've just had this announcement a few days back that they've agreed to put up a wall along 8 kilometers in the southern part of it. And if they've made that agreement to put up a wall, it's a triumph, not because they're building a wall, but because they know where to put that wall. A wall is very thin. That's 1% of the border. You couldn't put a wall up over Pravihan. It would be madness, or Previha. So the question is, why can't modern technology, what is in the Cambodian political psyche that you've just mentioned that prevents them wanting to take a step that should clarify everything for everybody, with goodwill, obviously?
Were you asking?
I'm asking you.
I can't, the sound is not so good. I did not hear clearly what was your question again. Why modern technology is not used?
Yes, I think that's the crunch. Why, with all this technology now, where we can have such incredible precision, can't we agree to update the French map on the basis of the markers that have been found, rather than the thick French line that runs along an old document from 115 years ago?
Now, may I ask you this question? If we upgrade it to a high resolution, would Cambodia lose Tamontom, Takrabai, Tamontut, and Mumbai?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, the Cambodian fear
Right.
that if we accept different map, we keep losing what is legally and rightfully belong to us after French colonialization. I'm not going back to, you were so elegant to show many Khmer temple that was seeded during the Cold, or not before, even in history, that form part of Thai state right now. I have no illusion that Cambodia have any idea or any desire. No, there's a lot of, there's still in Cambodia Krom is another, in Vietnam, many Cambodian there, but that you cannot claim it back. That's fait accompli by French already. So unless Cambodia take French to court for it,
But
responsible for this. So my point, I'm asking you, and you cannot say you don't know. If you refer to something better, this better thing have to give fair treatment to both sides. Thailand have to be happy, Cambodia also have to be happy. If you can have a map that make the two countries happy with each other, why we will use the map. I'm sure that will be a consensus to use the map.
Right.
That's the point.
Okay, well, I mean, if you wanted to make it easier, wouldn't it be better to start working from the south and go through all this land that is identical? It's rice fields, it's sugarcane plantations and forest, whereas the temples are obviously deeply contentious and emotionally wrapped up in it. But these fields, for example, that are exactly the same on both sides, surely that could be negotiated quite easily.
Well, that's precisely I was suggesting. please allow the JBC to complete its work first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, if they can finish the work, and you know what I would hope for is that they go and do this work and they will report back to their superior, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then onward to Prime Minister, that these things they can resolve, and there are area portions of the boundary they cannot resolve. And what do they recommend? Both sides. I mean, both sides have to sign off the report that they recommend what? For example, you mentioned they recommend to use a different map, a more better map or something. You know, if the Cambodian can agree to also sign that document, it can be a first step in the right direction. But please allow them to finish their work. At the moment, Thai side want to propose to cancel even that MOU. So what's the hope of having, you know, the MOU was signed in 2000. There's quite a bit of work done already, although it's not finished yet, but they have done substantive work. So get them back to work, you know, have them work out their task first, and then we'll see how difficult it is, what area that is remain thorny, and what are their suggestions to resolve these thorny issues. That's my suggestion. If you now trying to say that, well, this is a map, and because of this map, Cambodia is taking Thai territory, and therefore they have to use force to protect national sovereignty. I think it's too easy to come into that conclusion without debating the fact that what legally under what ground that the map has been used, you know. That's all I'm saying. You see, that's why Cambodia never, they get fed up. That's why they always go to the ICJ. They said a claim is a claim. Until proven is yours, remain a claim. You know, for the fact that Cambodia, I want to also mention, you know, when we take Thailand to court on the first time, 1962 ruling, Thailand agreed to go court to court. So in other words, Thailand also think by going to court, Thailand may have a chance to win the ownership of Temple of Pravi also, you know. And I invite Thongchai Professor Thongchai probably have record of what happened after the ruling of 1962 in Thailand. King Sim himself was stripped from his PhD. They give him an honorary PhD, and the first thing Thailand do is strip him from that. There was a lot of protests in Thailand, and you know, Thanat Command sent a statement to the UN accepting the verdict, but with the reservation that they will one day reclaim Temple Pravi here. Please read all these historical documents, and it's now being played out by this. I would say conservative or maybe far right group who think that Cambodia using French map to take Thai territory. See, we need to be brave enough to discuss this matter first. As I mentioned, Cambodia have no desire, no any pretension to try to do that, you know. We just want to have our border respected in accordance to what we can agree on. And there was an agreement by the MOU already. And that's the whole problem. And then Thailand want to cancel Thailand, not all Thailand, you know. I said it's Thailand, but unfortunately, the strongest part of Thailand does not see the MOU serve the interest of the best interest of Thailand. I'm just saying that if you cancel it, you don't have any mechanism, bilateral mechanism, and this Cambodia will probably go to International Court of Justice for protection, you know. So I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Conflicts of this scale, it's beyond my wording, you know, to explain or to make sense of anything, you know. But I agree with Thongchai. There's the map, the methodology that at that time used is different. Thai state at that time thought it was a watershed, and maybe there is a little bit of complacency from a Thai part, allow the French to do whatever they want, not whatever they want, but the way the French cartography expert is doing their work, you should complain then, you know. Sorry to say, Cambodia did not take part. Maybe we small, we carry the measurement and so on. There's some low-level Cambodian engineer involved in demarcation, but decision-making is the French. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
We were then under French protectorate.
We've touched on it, but there's this whole issue of hypernationalism on both sides, with the issue of sovereignty and great drama attached to it. We're moving towards an election, which could very much influence the way politicians behave here regarding the border conflict. Is it more of a problem in Thailand than in Cambodia, or do you think it's pretty much...
You asked me?
Yeah,
I thought I'm coming here to talk about maps.
Well, sorry, if you don't want to touch it, then I agree.
I don't.
Okay.
I can, but I don't. I want to talk about maps.
Okay. So can I ask you that question, Pusotirak, whether you think that hypernationalism is inflaming this problem in a way that makes it beyond that basically it's the best thing is just to leave it alone for a while and hope it'll calm down?
Yeah. Well, you know, just before I answer that question, when I come here, like I make a first statement, I don't really want to talk about map either, but Professor Thongchai want to talk about map, and I respect what he have to say because he done extensive research work. But my view, I'm hoping you were asking more questions about how to make the peace deal whole. You know, as I mentioned to you, we are at the threshold of having another big clash against each other, and we're debating, and I'm a nobody. I'm just a retired academic now. I possess certain knowledge that I'm hoping to use it in the best of my ability to make sure that Thailand and Cambodia can coexist peacefully. I'm not seeking any, I don't do blame game, I don't pass judgment. I'm just trying to say what, according to my research, these are the facts. So now, answering to your question, I've been asked many times, nationalism is one of the root cause of this conflict. Now, I identify 4 root causes, but I stick to nationalism for you. There is a constructive aspect of nationalism, and there is a destructive aspect of nationalism. The constructive nationalism, you know, is when your arch enemy invade you, you know, and you call your people, you know, during a good example, King Sin using nationalism to really kick the French out. To me, that is a constructive nationalism. Now, nationalism that used by leaders to inflict severe misunderstanding or to obscure peaceful solution to the conflict, I think this is not a good nationalism. It's not a good aspect of nationalism. You need to, leader of both sides need to restrain from using nationalism as a way to send a message across to one another, you know, and to be the champion of your own side without regard to the other. Whatever you lose, I don't care. You know, I just need to say that I'm better than you and my nationalism is better. You know, I have all the reason to defend my way of thinking that nationalism will work for me in my own turf. But you see, if you do that, nationalism becomes a very, very potent weapon to destroy relationship. Cambodia and Thailand need to have a good relationship. Cambodia and Thailand have since the early 50s, you know, more than 75 years of a good relationship. If you use nationalism in this case, you have to throw those 75 years of good, in the modern history of a Thai-Cambodian relationship, you have to throw it away. So those who wrap themselves around nationalism need to understand the destructive force of nationalism. We should not incite people through nationalism to defend our own core interests, what we believe it belongs to us rightfully, without regard that it may not be the case, you know, may not be the case. So we need to open up the communication.
Okay.
And
I'll-
bear in mind,
I'll move it away
another
from...
point about nationalism. You know, who exploit nationalism? Not just between the two sides. The detractor of the two sides, enemy of both Thailand and Cambodia, will use this fake news, part of it, rhetoric, you know, inflammatory rhetoric from both sides. It's inflamed by what? Fake news and media that you cannot control. And often enough now it's AI. They have no feeling, you know. They can shoot, they can dump into a system tons and message that make Cambodia and Thailand hate each other. Please be very mindful of this.
Let's
This-
move away from
yeah.
hypernationalism, because it is a very unpleasant, sensitive subject, and get back to the issue of the maps.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can I just get back to the issue of the maps? And Ajahn Tongja, if you could give us an assessment of how the Joint Border Committee functions, what they have actually achieved since they've been going, and how they deal with things when they don't agree.
Okay, now it's my turn. Let me say, I'm not good. Can I not answering your question right away, straightforward to your answer to your question?
Sorry. Yeah.
Because I don't know much about the working inside the Joint Border Committee, and I'm a historian. For people who don't know me, most of you don't know me, I would like to upfront saying that if you would like to say today the setup like Cambodia versus Thailand, no, you'll be disappointed. I don't represent Thailand. So when Ambassador Poo say you, I try to avoid it because I'm not. Somebody there, but I am not. And if I'm saying I'm skeptics, if I'm skeptic to both, doesn't mean that I take the Cambodian side either. The only side I take is myself. Okay? And I agree to talk today. I know that it's dangerous. It's a fine line to walk. Why I'm living in Thailand? I'm living mainly in the U.S., but I'm retired, like Ambassador Poo. So I can stay here a bit long, but I know that it's dangerous to say anything. What I'm going to say, I'm going to question, give you a lot of information that question the news or the stance of both countries. I am not going to point directly this one against Thailand, this one against Cambodia. No. Just let you think by yourself. For example, what is inside working mechanism and working atmosphere situation between the Joint Committee, Boundary Committee? I have no idea. And I'm a historian of the late 19th century, early 20th century. I can talk more about the French map, actually. I can talk more about demarcation at the time. My knowledge, that knowledge allowed me to understand what's going on in the border areas currently. But I am not expert. I don't do research on that. Let's say I understand Treaty 1907, 1909. I understand 200,000 maps. And whatever happened after that, such as the Thai-Lao dispute in 1987, 88, that involved also the same map, different. I understand that, but that's not my expertise. I just follow them and try to understand what's the issue. And what I keep telling all along, one, to me, nationalism is destructive. No either or. I'm not saying nationalism, that's my position. It might have something constructive, but mainly destructive. So don't expect me to protect or defend the Thai side, because what happened now is destructive for both. Okay. What happened, if I talk about French and the French map in 1907, 1909? What I wrote 30-something years ago is that the demarcation at the time was made on the land that cannot be demarcated. But modern Westphalian state wanted a line, so there must be a line. The way they did is that they create a line. Upon the Earth's surface, there is no precedent of a line. Worse than that, a line Westphalian system supposed to represent territorial sovereignty, right? In Southeast Asia, mainland Southeast Asia, all borders around Thailand at the time was not yet enter Westphalian model. No. They are still in the age of suzerainty, not sovereignty. The suzerains, different suzerains claim different piece of land, different parts of land, mainly by identifying the center of power in each places. Boundary line for the modern state, defined by the edge. Remember the picture of the boundary mark? There's a Thai word on the side, Dan Thaw Dan. Dan Thaw Dan, where this is where land interface or meet each other. That's a modern concept. In the pre-modern concept, the pre-Westphalian, sovereignty can claim by by modern sovereigns. If they have trouble where to mark the line, they fought each other. But most of the time, they didn't have that trouble. Why? Because the polity around that border area between the two overlords, they pay tribute to every side. They pay tribute to every overlord in order to keep overlord at peace, in order to put away the overlord from their suzerainty. That's it. So the line was drawn on the Earth's surface, not only where there was no previous precedent of the demarcation, but drawn on the land with multiple or overlapping claims of sovereignty. That's it. That's what I study. I understand the treaty, but my book ends there because I think treaty is a boring subject. Map is also a boring subject. I'm an intellectual historian. So I think once the treaty or the demarcation on maps, it just means the beginning of totally new concept of political space. That's how it works. Okay, I know something which is useful because what I have said so far is pretty useless. I give you one example. Just one example, small area. And you can see that problem in hundreds of other areas. It doesn't have to be as severe as the example I'm going to talk about. And that never been published. I say that, what I'm about to say that is hypothetical. Hypothetical not in the sense of make it up, but in the sense that we need more study, we need more verification. During the dispute between Thailand and Laos in 1987-88, most of you born already, I look around. They dispute over a boundary between Thailand and Laos in a small section around a hill in Changwat Loi of Thailand. That time, Thailand rely on 1 to 200,000. Yes. Nobody ever asked this time why Thailand insists on 1 to 50,000, but in 87 they insist on 1 to 200,000. You see, I'm not taking Cambodian side. Just simple question to ask Thai government why they rely on 1 to 200,000 in 1988, 7, 88, but this time they rely on 150,000. Nobody asked, including all of you here, journalists. Nobody asked. Okay, back to the story. Thailand insists on that map. Laos insists on 1 to 50,000 that American made. At the time, I laughed. Okay, Thailand hate the French imperial so much, but they rely on that map. Laos just finished the war with American not so long ago. They rely on the map that American made. Is that irony? Anyway, what happened is that then they look back at historical, then I look back, not they fight about several hundred. Somebody told me about, no evidence. Somebody told me that close to 1,000 soldiers on both sides died on that hill. It's no man's land, no, not no man's land, but only a small number of people live there. And the trouble caused by the 3 Hmong villages, which has been moving around in that area. And nobody found, nobody know, nobody recognized those 3 villages because that area has been under the Communist Party all the time. So once the Cold War in Thailand over, Communist Party collapsed, the logging business can move in. The logging business found the 3 Hmong villages. And they don't know those Hmongs are Thai or Lao. You can guess, those Hmong people didn't know either. They didn't know they are Thai or Lao. So there is a need for demarcation. The fighting went on. I look at the map. I found that area transferred from Siam to France after 1909. If you recall history, not 1907, the main agreement is on 1907 for most borders, but certain pocket in west of Luang Prabang, west of Luang Prabang or east of Nan, that area, which including the area I'm talking about in Changwat Le today, is part of 1909 agreement. They agreed, signed a treaty that they use Mae Nam Huang River. Keep that word in mind, Huang River. Not San Pan Nam, not watershed. They use Huang River. The problem is that the French map making walk on the ground after the treaty was done. A few months. There is record in the French archive. They found that that particular area, there are 2 Huang streams. Yes, if you go back to look at 1909, they say Huang River. They didn't say which Huang. The fact on the map is that there are 2 Huang River. The French cheating, they agree upon among themselves that choose the Huang that give them a little bit more territory. The name is Huang Noi. When you heard Huang Noi, you assume that the opposite is Huang Nhai. Right? Possibly, but it's not clear because on the map it says A Huang, Nga, and not clear that the final alphabet was overwritten by isometric line, or is the name Huang Nga. In 1987, Thai Foreign Ministry read it as Huang Nga. Because on the map it shows Huang Nga. Map was done later, remember that? The treaty was done first, map was done later. Huang Nga, Huang Noi. Back to the story in 1987. It happened that the 2 Huang stream, one dry out. Only 1 stream. You can guess if it were the stream that were the boundary line, it would be easy. No. The stream that still survived, that still exists, was not the stream precisely according to the map. That line dry away. Then where is demarcation? More problem than that. The 2 streams and the 1 stream in the present, the 2 stream in 1909, is around 1 hill. The name of the hill also changed. the dispute party try to figure out where is that hill. Local people didn't know because the local people call it by another name. This is extreme case. Yes, why I say extreme case? Almost 1,000 people die. For what? I still have no answer. For what? Is that boundary resolved today? No. How to resolve it? Any smartest genius people in the world, please give me the answer how to resolve that. Nobody knows. As far as I know, last time I tried to find out what happened to that boundary. Last time I tried to find out is shortly after that incident, which is about early 1990s. I heard that the joint boundary committee is all over the boundary, not just between Thailand and Cambodia. I heard that the joint boundary of that boundary agreed to sit on the problem, don't do anything. I think that's the smartest solution. I'm not sarcastic. This particular sentence, I'm not sarcastic. I think that's the smartest solution. Don't solve it. Well, I know that in international relations, in this meeting, to you, no, that's impossible. Only for people like me, that's the smartest. Sincerely speaking, honestly speaking, that's the smartest solution. Don't solve it. Because it cannot be solved. Now you can imagine so many other boundaries. If two countries, between Thailand and ... want to have dispute, I agree to become a consultant. If you want a war, I can point to you more places than we can create more wars. When is the last time the Thai between Thai and Burma in the area around Victoria Point in Ranong? When was the last time the Thai was surveyed and measured? As far as I know, maybe close to 100 years. Don't you think Thai moved, Thai changed? Solution is that don't survey. How about between Thailand? The agreement is that all the sandbars belongs to Laos, belongs to French Indochina, which is today Laos. All the sandbars. The boundary is between the deepest part of the sandbar and the Thai bank. Now, the fact is that there are some sandbar which go attached to Thai bank. Yes, sandbar change faster than watershed. What to do? What happens if sandbar go closer to Thai bank? That's the work of Joint Boundary Committee. They have ongoing work to draw the line, to observe the sandbar. I don't envy that job. Observe the sandbars grow and shrink. Because they need to draw the line, the deepest part of water between the sandbar and the Thai bank. But sandbar change. Boundary issues. Oh, by the way, another part. Mapped. 1 to 200,000 and 1 to 50,000, they use different methodology to make it simple, because there's technical term that I cannot pronounce. It's too technical. I tell you one simple thing. You know Mercator map? Most world map in sheet use Mercator methodology, which is like when you stretch out the pole, the two poles into sheet, it's bigger than it's supposed to be, right? Greenland looks bigger than it should be. Russia is bigger than it should be. Australia is bigger than it should be. We know this, right? That one method. That's the method that 1 to 50,000 use, but in smaller area, only in the area around Thailand, okay? But that's the method. So it means they stretch the map. They stretch wherever the location is a bit much in order to put it on the flat sheet. The French map use a method technically speaking, there's a word for that, which is, to make it simple, we call it like an onion, or you can say an orange. They use that method, which is don't stretch it out. Don't stretch it out. Keep the latitude, keep the longitude as correct as possible. Collaborate with walking on the ground. The American map used the plane and no walking on the ground. Those are different maps. The result you can imagine is it could be the same. No, it's not. It's not. Even the Thai different department. Have you heard the dispute between forestry department, for the department that take care of forest reserve and the land department? The dispute, nobody ever dig up whether, I'm not sure this is hypothetical, whether or not, because those two departments within the same Thai government use different method of map making. I think they did. Those are the problems. So map and demarcation is the issue to be solved. Wall can be built, but please tell me first where to build it. As long as there is no demarcation, nobody can build it because we don't know where to build it. 1 meter on Thai soil, you lost territories. 1 meter on Cambodian soil, you are invader. Right in the middle, then where is right in the middle? About 3 temples as well. I'm not kidding, Ambassador Poo. Hypothetically speaking, based on information I have, but still hypothetical because I didn't do research, I didn't go there. The whole story about Laos as well, I didn't have final verification. That's how I gather needs to be proved. And I don't want to write it out because I would be in trouble. About the 3 temples, hypothetically speaking, if 1 temple in Thai soil, on Thai soil, 1 temple on Cambodian soil, 1 temple is right on the watershed. Is that a fair solution? There is a survey by Royal Thai Survey Department. Yes, it's part of military. No other departments in Thailand allowed to make map except the military. Sorry, that's a fact. Go and ask the head of the department asking for a study in 2544, 2000-2001 in Thai. It's a survey, it's not legal binding document. They did a survey exactly in the area of the 3 temples. Ask them, you journalists, you know better than me how to find it, and read it.
Right, Ambassador Poo's got to move along, so we'll just have a few quick questions. Can you get the microphone in the back? Anybody who's been waiting to ask a question, now's your opportunity. Be quick.
I know that I speak long, but I don't think I speak longer than Ambassador. Let me finish.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Can I?
Yeah.
One final thing.
Before you do,
map,
questioners get up.
please, wait for a few minutes. Map is the issue now. Map is not quite an issue now. Map can solve the problem, but we cannot get to map if we don't solve other problems first. As long as we don't get good relationship, goodwill between 2 countries, no way. You draw the map, no matter what map. I told you all information, basic information that this is a kind of problem that's not supposed to be solved because it's unsolvable unless the 2 countries agree, unless the 2 countries are on good terms, unless the 2 countries are friendly. Then it can be solved and solved once and for all. Like many European countries have fought for decades, have fought for centuries. So many millions die. In the end, after World War II, I didn't say I know what they say, but I think they realized this is stupid. So the better way is to sit down at the table As friends, we draw the line. Wherever the place that we cannot solve it, make it a joint development place, getting tax, getting revenue from that business, and then everybody happy. Don't solve it when we can't solve. If we solve it, when we were friends, solve it once and for all. But that only happen, the line can be drawn without dispute when the two sides are friendly. Right now, I wrote an article in Thai newspaper, Matichon Weekly. Thai-Cambodian boundary issue cannot be solved today, in the present time, cannot. No matter what we solve, it won't go away, because the root of the problem way back to the French demarcation, way back to all the problems that exist since then, and we try to solve it now. Yes, it can, but the one condition, both countries have to become friends and agree upon whatever they can agree once and for all. Otherwise, again, if Thai government want to know where to fight another war, I can offer the place.
Ambassador Pu, I know you need to move on to dinner. Would you like to have a last word before you go?
Well, a quick feedback. I respect Dr. Thongchai's statement. You know, one of the things that best, you know, I'm a political scientist and diplomat, also become a think tanker. And sometimes I think that I have the sharpest idea, but in the complex issues like this one, sharp idea does not going to help solve anything. Yep. You need to build trust. I live in Thailand for 7 years. I speak Thai. I love Thai food. I love Thai shopping. Thai product is my favorite. In Cambodia now we boycott Thai because of this nationalism. Boycott Thai product. And I respect Thongchai. He see all nationalism bad. 80 or 90% maybe. But I still think there is a good aspect of nationalism. It's a role of the leader to use it in the best interest, not just for yourself, but for your neighbor, for whoever you call them your adversary. Be careful, because there's a flip side. So my last word is that, you know, one of the things that the reason Cambodia opt to go to ICJ again, as I mentioned, a claim is a claim till proven yours is claim, and who can prove it is an international court. This is to do justice to the younger generation. Now, Thongchai have to, you know, nobody's going to live forever, but when you go, so that people of young Thai generation or Cambodian generation don't say that the elder did not really solve this issue. So that, if you can reconcile yourself, I agree with him. The idea to solve it now is that but I think you have to look at the environment. I agree with Thongchai, the environment is not good. All kind of things, you know, who plan landmine. I'm only going to release the 18 soldier if Cambodia give something. We don't know what it is. So you know, all these have to go away. Conditions and so on. Unless both sides trust each other and really seek peaceful solution and give up with the military solution, you know, and open up the ambassador from both countries, restore them, open up the border, release the 18 soldier. I mean, without any asking any question. This is the best way to heal, you know, to heal the issues. So I just say that I respect what Thongchai said, and now you ask the expert. The expert say if it through defining which map to you is creating more problem, keep it. I mean, hibernating it. You know, let the next generation solve it. Maybe they spare you from saying that you're not a good elder. You know, but never mind. We can live in peace without that. And I will stop here, and I thank you very much for involving me in this dialogue. I think many of you are journalists. Please get your facts correctly. Release something that help heal Cambodia and Thailand, and don't inflame. Don't use something that will poke them, make them hate each other, for example. You have a role to play. Please be constructive. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador Pu. And it's been...
Yeah, I have to leave. Thank you very much, Dominic, for entertaining me, and I hope I make sense.
Yeah, you did. And it's extraordinary. I don't think we've ever had a program with no questions coming from the floor, so they're all kind of bulldozed and stunned by it. Thank you very much, and Ajahn Thongchai, thank
Dominic,
you.
are we not allowed any questions at all?
You can have one if you want.
Okay. There's been a lot of discussion about Preah Vihear, but there's also been some disputes, I think, which relate more to the treaty than maps, around Koh Kut as well, in the Gulf of Thailand, where there's a lot of natural resources as well, waiting to be sort of developed. Can you say anything about that?
Koh Kut.
I don't know about the maritime map, because it's totally new, totally separate issue, and the law about controlling maritime has changed in the past 50 years. Put it that way. I didn't study, but the Preah and actually all Thai and Cambodian borders are on that side, on the Dangwek hill. There is a huge misunderstanding that I don't know who started, but it become very firm, unfortunately. They believe that, anybody goes that border area, there is a kind of highland and then a cliff, right? People thought that the cliff is a boundary. No. According to the treaty, according to the map, it's a watershed. It's a watershed, never been a cliff. No. If a cliff is a watershed, then it's a cliff. But you can imagine how many times, how many places a cliff is a watershed. Maybe not, right? So that's why I would say now Ambassador Pu already left. It's good to support Cambodia. That's why Cambodia won easily ICJ in 1962, because it's watershed. It's not a cliff. And I have to say that the only thing I would like not warning, what's the word? Cautious, a Cambodian claim, watershed changes. Watershed also changes. That's why I try to put some ideas to Ambassador Pu. Maybe we need new maps, not new. We rely on the French map. Use the watershed as the main thing, but recognize that watershed can change, and watershed have changed so many places. So we stick to the treaty. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm not going to say 1 to 50,000 is better. No, it's the time to update 1 to 200,000. Make modern technology. That's a part that you throw a question. I know you throw in the program publicity. I agree. Do that. But again, even that, it can happen only both sides are friends. I don't know if it's the answer or not. That's it. That is the part of the Preah here, because it's watershed. It's not the cliff.
Silence is stunning. Good. Well, Professor Thongchai, I hope we didn't over-vex you.
By the way, one last word. Find a survey by Royal Survey Department on that section. That is not, I emphasize, it's not legally binding, and it's a study, so they could be wrong. But one line they draw, the line they draw, not one line, they try to draw according to the watershed. And that shows you where the three temples are. You will be shocking.
And just one final note, you mentioned Ban Rong Clau, the similar dispute with Laos in 88, 87. The figure that you came up with was 1,000 people killed on both sides. I think the perception was that more Thais were killed than Laos. And the official figure for the Thai official concession is that it was between 150 and 200 official.
Okay.
But military
I didn't know that.
attaches in Bangkok at that time put the figure close over 500.
I didn't know that.
So it's huge. And it's very instructive, that particular issue.
So hundreds of people die, and nobody ever say. So what I said is hypothetical because it's weird. It's something wrong, and then people just saying that blame the logging business. Fine, I don't. I mean that is correct, but I wonder what's going on, what's wrong, why they can't solve the issue. One thing I know, they use different map. Remember, I told you Thailand used 1 to 2,000 for that battle. Laos used 1 to 50,000. For Thailand, it's opposite. The position is opposite from what they stand for today. And I look at the map. It's all. I don't want to jump, but if I make it a kind of hilarious, it's kind of dark humor. Even the name of the river, Huang Nhai, it's possible that I, alphabet I, was overwritten by a symmetric bar. So the name has changed. Foreign Ministry know only Huang Nga. There's no Huang Nga.
So anyway, the moral is don't let the French draw your maps. But I'm English, so.
Sorry, I kind of rebellious against it.
No.